All right, my friends, we're almost done with doing our local setup of Kubernetes. We've set up our deployments, we've got the cluster IPs, our persistent volumes, secrets, environment variables, the whole shebang. The very last thing we have to do is somehow allow traffic to get into our application. Now, you'll recall that we had previously allowed people to connect directly to the multi-client pod over here through the use of a node port. But a node port is only really good for use inside of a development environment, and we certainly want to eventually take this application into production. So rather than using a node port, we're going to start to wire up an Ingress service to our application. Now, in this section in particular, we're going to get a couple of words in on exactly what an Ingress service is, but before we do, I want to tell you about the third type of service that we had very quickly mentioned exists, but didn't really go into a lot of detail on, and that's a service called a load balancer. So we're going to very quickly give you a brief overview on a load balancer type service and talk about why we're not going to use it. And then we'll move on to talking about ingresses and all that whatnot. All right, so for services, remember these are objects that are meant to set up some type of networking inside of our cluster. We've made use of a cluster IP, which allows other pods to get access to a particular service or a particular set of pods. We've got the node port, which we just discussed again, and the load balancer. Now, this is